We are now going to install Laravel Homestead. Laravel Homestead is a virtual box designed to run Laravel. Using virtual boxes is a great way to manage applications. A virtual box is a complete emulation of a computer. This is beneficial because a developer can simply start up a project, Homestead in our case, and have a complete system up and running with very little configuration. You'll see this used a lot in professional software companies, where you can have 5 or 6 projects, each running their own technology stack. Maybe Node.js, PHP, or even Ruby. Without a virtual box, you'd have to install and configure each project on your machine and manage conflicts. And even worse, you'd have to do the same thing again when someone else wanted to get the project up and running. The only downside to virtual boxes is that they can use up a lot of memory and CPU usage. But as computers get faster, this becomes less of a problem. If we look at the documentation, the first things we need to do is install VirtualBox and Vagrant. I've already downloaded this to my computer, but you should do this before we continue the video. This process is beyond the scope of this video and will depend on the operating system you are using, but just follow the instructions stated on both the Vagrant and VirtualBox's website. Once that's been complete, let's go to the terminal and the directory we have our project installed. We are now going to use Composer to require Laravel/Homestead. There are lots of ways to do this, but I much prefer to use Composer per project. Why? Because anybody who uses this project can simply use Composer install and have Laravel Homestead installed too. With the other option of installing Homestead globally, that becomes much harder to do. So let's start by doing Composer require Laravel/Homestead --dev. The --dev tells Composer that we only want to use this package in development. If we were deploying our code to a server and we ran Composer install, we wouldn't want to install Laravel Homestead too. Let's press enter. Now, we've got that package installed, we need to run a specific Homestead command. Remember, all our packages are stored in the vendor folder. In this case, vendor, bin, homestead, make. If you're wondering how I knew I had to run that command, well, you guessed it. It's in the documentation. Now, if you're running Mac or Linux, you may not need to perform the next step. But if you are running Windows, there's a good chance you'll have to generate SSH keys. SSH keys are beyond the topic of this course, but to summarize, they help computers authenticate. In our case, our local machine and the virtual Laravel Homestead box. It doesn't matter they're running on the same machine. To your computer, they're 2 separate machines running. We can do this by running this command in our terminal. ssh-keygen -t rsa -C and your email address. Great, now we can Vagrant up and start Laravel Homestead. This process can take some time and can show some warnings when first performing a Vagrant up, but this is normal. Once this is complete, we can now view our Laravel project at the address localhost port 8000. It's important to note that this is coming from our Vagrant box and is a self-contained machine. So if we wanted to run a different machine for a different application, we could do. Now let's stop Vagrant. Vagrant halt. Great, so now we have Laravel Homestead up and running. For this course, it's not an essential thing to run Laravel within a VirtualBox. You could just do PHP artisan serve, but it's a nice thing to learn for future use. This covers section 1. Please make sure to review the installation and configuration sections of the manual, as it will be covered in the test for this section.